Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. Hopefully everything is working well. I get the impression something is broken, but I guess we'll find out as we go, right? Alrighty, let's see here. Just going to write down my timestamps. Check this out. You can see this on my screen, I assume. I wrote this. This is mine. This is, I call it, it's wavemap.us. I'm super proud of it. It's basically like an election model that will predict which way different states will go. And right now I'm working on districts, like districting, whatever. You can see 2024 results compared to 2026 predictions, although Texas just gerrymandered and redistricted. So I'm in the process of fixing the districts so that they're updated at this immediate moment. And 6 other states did as well, I think. But anyway, you can basically predict, look, you can go into prediction mode, and on election night, as you learn the way that things went, you can set the states, and the other states will change based on your prediction. So like if we lose Florida, it's possible that Kentucky might also go red. Or like if we make Texas solidly blue, it'll change other states. Or South Dakota, see, it changed Wyoming, and it's changing all these. That's prediction mode. Reset all. But you can change the sliders here. These are all metrics on the left here that are used in political science for forecasting, and these are all correct. Presidential approval rating aggregate right now is at 42%. The right direction question is one of the most important questions. Is the country going in the right direction? Yes or no? 36% say it's going in the right direction. Based on who's president at the moment, that will determine a lot about who's going to win the election. So if we said, 60% of the country believes the country is going in the right direction, and our voter turnout was significant, what matched Republicans basically, which we know that it won't, then we could expect all these states to be red. We have consumer sentiment, like how are people doing financially generally? That changes a lot. If there's a Republican in office and consumer sentiment is very positive, it will almost certainly go to the Republican, but it's not very positive right now. In fact, it's very, very negative. So anyway, yeah, you can kind of mess with generic ballot environment. You can mess with all this stuff. The national political mood in points is the generic ballot environment. Presidential approval, say 60% approved of what he's doing, and say 60% think it's going in the right direction. And our votes roughly match what Republicans are getting right now. Pretty much a red sweep. But I don't believe that's what's going to happen. I honestly believe this is what we're going to see. 60 votes in the Senate. I believe that's what it's going to be. And I'm actually going to add additional features to this. I'm going to make it so that you can look at polls for states. Just general polls and things. Not necessarily political stuff, but you can look at how different states voted, or different states, you can look at how different states position themselves on different issues. You can look at the Senate, the House, the governor, and the presidency is in here too, but for some reason it's not showing at the moment. Anyway, it's because I have to hit 2028 forecast, yeah. It's entirely too early for a 2028 forecast. So there's no real point in even bothering with that, but it's there for when the time comes. I believe, based on the special elections, based on all the metrics that I have researched heavily, I believe that we are likely to see 350 seats in the House, at least 350, in my opinion, in the House, and 60 seats in the Senate. To be conservative. In my opinion, that's what we're looking at. Oop, for some reason, Texas is blacked out. There we go. That looks like a little bug that I wasn't managing well. You can also go inside of the states themselves and like look at the data, and you can change the sliders while looking at the data. Like the demobilization slider, you can kind of change it, and it'll change the outcome and show you. See, really cool, right? I'm super proud of it. Right now in Texas, according to Texas primary votes, Tallarico won. We doubled the number of Democrats voting this election. Previously, we had, how many did we have? Did we have 4 million voting? Yeah, we had 4 million Democrats voting and 4.2 million Republicans voting in Texas last election. In the primary alone, there were 8 million voters, 8 million Democrats, and only 4.4 million Republicans voting in the primaries. So if those numbers stand strong, as why wouldn't they, right? Of course they're going to. In the major election, not just in primaries. If those numbers stay strong, we're looking at a complete blue sweep, like complete cloture. We're looking at being able to do literally anything in the House and the Senate, except for impeaching or constitutional amendments. However, there is a path, conceivably, that I could see that could take us to impeachment. This is not updating the... For some reason, it's not updating. No, it is. Yeah, it's very unlikely that we would get to a supermajority, 66 votes. We would have to do more than sweep the board. We'd have to triple, not just double. I think we can rely on doubling our votes. Yes, I am being optimistic. You're right, super nerd. I am. Certainly not this. We're not getting 66, but I believe that we're going to see 60. I think we're going to get to a minimum of 58, maybe even 60, in my opinion. I think we're going to see this. And you can click on different states and see their actual vote tallies. So like 28,000 people voted Democrat in Alaska last time around. 129,000 voted Republican. If we... something going on outside. If we double our votes, and that stands true from Texas and carries on through the other states, it's still not going to get us where we need to be for Alaska, for example. Even Idaho. It's just not going to happen in some of these states. There just aren't enough people there. You know, like, look at Wyoming. If we doubled our votes, it would still not... We're not likely to get enough Democrats to vote. But anyway, I'm super proud of it. Wavemap.us. I think it's really cool. Need a slider for Trumper meddling mode. Well, I looked into voter suppression as a metric that I could incorporate into this. Unfortunately, voter suppression is hard to quantify a lot of the time. So you can give or take 1 percentage point maybe. It doesn't affect things much. But when you're dealing with small races, unpopulated states where it comes down to a few votes, voter suppression can matter. But for a model like this, it probably wouldn't very much. So anyway, I think it's really cool. I'm happy with it. Wavemap.us. Let me just refresh, because I just did a fix a few minutes ago for Texas. Oh, yeah. Check it out. Yep. Redistricting. Wait. The districts are messy again. That's weird. Why did... It must have fallen back on the old shape files. It did. It fell back on the old shape files. Son of a bitch. Not right now. Not going to deal with it right now. I'm just going to write it down. All right. Anyway, check it out. It's really cool. I'm proud of it. 2024, 2026 Senate. That's where it comes in. Yep. Awesome. Looked identical. Problems that based on centroids redistricted. Okay. Render the real district boundaries. Hang on. Okay, let's hit the first story, shall we? It's Epstein. Let me pull up my thing for this. I have a document that I wanted to kind of go through here. Where did my Epstein document go? Hold on. Wait, where the holy heck is my Epstein document? It's missing. I meant to grab this video too. Sorry, I feel unprepared. I mean, I am super prepared, but add to queue. Configure. Video illustrating the cost ammunition in the military. Process all. All right. Close. Here, this is what I was looking for. I already had a remove from group. Move that in. All right. Donald Trump has just effectively been buried by a new Epstein drop. Now, I don't believe anything's going to happen to Donald Trump over this, but this is as dead to rights as it gets. They didn't want to release this, the DOJ. There had to be a full investigation by NPR, by a news network, before they legally forced them to release these documents. To my understanding, they intentionally left these documents out of the Epstein dump, and NPR looked through the numbered documents and saw that like 15 pages or something were missing from this section, and did like this whole process to get those documents from the government, and they succeeded. And it's bad. It's really bad. So the victim in this document is named Jane Doe 4. That's the alias they're using. And I want to just read a little bit about what happened exactly. It's in pages 8 to 9 of this document. Oh, yeah, so this is a 10-page document. It's in pages 8 and 9, and it's very, very graphic. So I'm going to keep it monetizer-friendly to the best of my ability. Let's go through a little bit of this. It is an FBI Form 302, the standard record agents use the standard record agents use to memorialize what a witness tells them. Serial 252, case file 31E-NY-3027571. Interview number 2 of 4. Conducted August 7th, 2019, days after Jeffrey Epstein's arrest in New York. Entered into the federal record August 22nd. Released to the public as part of the Department of Justice's Epstein file disclosure on January 30th, 4 weeks before the U.S. and Israel launched strikes on Iran. During a news cycle that left little oxygen for anything else. However, this didn't come out until just a couple days ago. The woman interviewed in that document, hang on. When the DOJ released dataset 12, the files dropped. Hang on, I'm just looking for where this starts. On February 24th, 2026, NPR reporter Stephen Fowler published a full investigation. The finding is the Justice Department had withheld or removed approximately 53 pages of interview documents and notes relating to a woman who'd accused both Epstein and Trump of sexual abuse. Fowler identified the gap by cross-referencing 3 separate sets of serial numbers, Bates stamps, printed on the documents. Each set tracks a different category of records. When he compared the numbers at the end of the released interview to the numbers at the start of the next document, one stamp increased by 1, another jumped by 6, and a third jumped by 53. The numbers indicated something was there that wasn't being shown. Some documents had been pulled from the database after initial publication. Others had simply never appeared. The Department of Justice's explanation offered after the story ran was that the files had been incorrectly coded as duplicative. No further explanation was given. Obviously, we now know that was a lie. They lied to us. On March 5th, following NPR's investigation and pressure from the House Democrats, who opened a parallel inquiry into the DOJ's handling of these records, the Justice Department released 16 additional pages covering 3 more interview summaries. So there's a guy on a motorcycle outside. You can tell he's really cool because he's revving his engine so fucking much it's blowing out my eardrums. Dead ringer for a really cool person. All right, let's continue. Members of both parties on the House Oversight Committee voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi to answer questions about the handling of the files. As of this writing, 37 pages remain missing from the public database, including handwritten notes from the interviews themselves. By the way, this is from NPR's article on the subject. This is not the only article that NPR did on this, but this one is from February 24th. This is them discovering that it was missing. The document is EFTA 028588481, and it's available on justice.gov under dataset 12. And it's a piece of a larger record that the government is still not fully disclosed. It's about Jane Doe 4. She was 13 years old when she first met the man she would come to know as Jeff. Her mother managed rental properties on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Around 1984, according to the FBI interviews and a civil lawsuit she later filed against Epstein's estate, a man called about renting a vacation home. His name was Jeffrey Epstein. He also called about a babysitting job. She went to the address. There was no wife. There was no child. There were, she told agents, a lot of books. He called about a babysitting job. No wife, no kids. She'd been brought there through what the FBI 302 records call fraud and misrepresentation. She told federal agents what happened next, she told federal agents 35 years later, was the beginning of years of abuse. Epstein, she called him Jeff throughout her interviews, began sexually abusing her on approximately the first interaction. Over the years that followed, she estimated the total number of sexual interactions as somewhere between 6 and 20. She described being drugged on almost every occasion, always alcohol and weed, usually coke. She told agents it was not fine, but better than being sober. He photographed her, Polaroids, some showing only her face, some her full body, some just her breasts. She found them in a drawer during her third interaction with him. He had taken them, she said, without her ever realizing it. Again, I'm not going to get too graphic. It gets pretty bad. The abuse extended beyond Epstein, a man she identified as Jim Atkins, phonetic spelling, possibly connected to an Ohio university, assaulted her on more than one occasion and participated with Epstein in blackmailing her mother using explicit photographs. The blackmail caused her mother, a woman she described as strong and previously sober, to begin embezzling from her real estate company to pay them. Her mother eventually went to prison for it. She began drinking again. The source told agents that Epstein's blackmailing of her mother ruined my family. Epstein was an expert at blackmailing. That was the whole grift. That was the setup. He would blackmail people and get favors from them later. And the favors varied depending on what kind of person he was dealing with, as in a world leader or a young, vulnerable girl who doesn't have any life experience. Epstein, she told agents, sent her on what she called missions to find young girls willing to come to his parties. She described the psychology she developed to survive it. She had to decide, she said, whether to eat or be eaten. If she brought him other girls, she looked at her... If she brought him other girls, he looked at her differently. Like she was, in her words, a good girl, quote unquote. That's horrifying. She began to feel, she said, like she had some of the power. Looking back on it during the FBI interview, she said he was probably grooming me. So here's where Donald Trump comes in. At some point, when she was between 13 and 15 years old, placing the incident in the early to mid-'80s, Epstein drove or flew her to either New York or New Jersey. She was brought to a very tall building with large rooms. She was, in her words to federal agents, introduced to someone with money. Money. It was Donald Trump, quote unquote. Trump did not like her from the start. She was what she called a boy girl, a tomboy. And she told agents he made his discomfort with that clear. Other people were present initially. At some point, Trump asked everyone to leave the room. What the FBI 302 records next is an allegation of sexual assault. Trump said words to the effect of, "Let me teach you how little girls are supposed to be." This is horrifying. I'm trying to keep the worst of it out. I can't. Like, I have to kind of lay this out, and I'll censor it later. He forced her head on himself toward his exposed stuff. She bit him. He struck her and said words to the effect of, quote, "Get this little bitch the hell out of here." She told agents she bit him because he disgusted her. Quote, "He had money," she said. "It reeked off of him," unquote. After the interaction, a blonde woman she did not recognize approached her and said, "Let me give you a tip, little girl, about your breasts. Wear a bra every night." She told agents those words had stayed with her throughout the years. She observed what she felt was jealousy between Epstein and Trump, but said they eventually ended up on level playing fields. Both men, she told agents, used the same terms when referring to girls: fresh meat, untainted, not jaded. She said she didn't know what jaded meant at the time. She looked it up later. By the way, all of this is in the documents dropped by the Department of Justice. This is all 100% real. This all happened. She said she had 2 additional interactions with Trump, but asked the agents to move on before detailing them. It's not known whether she described those interactions in the subsequent interviews, because we don't have the interviews, because the Department of Justice cut them out. She also told agents she was confident Trump knew about Epstein's blackmail operation because she heard them discuss it. She said she heard Trump talking about washing money through casinos. This is not something reported to the police, by the way. I'm sorry, this isn't something reported to the press. This isn't through a newspaper. This is through the Department of Justice. This is through the FBI. She never went to the press about this stuff. She went to the police about this, and the police felt it was credible enough that they went back, I believe, 4 different times, if I'm not mistaken. By the 4th interview in October 2019, agents asked whether she felt comfortable providing more detail about her contacts with Trump. She asked them what the point would be. Quote, "When there was a strong possibility nothing could be done about it." That shit's wild. And that's not, by any stretch of the imagination, the only example of damning documentation that we have about Donald Trump. That one should bury him forever. But then there's Katie Johnson. Before we move on to Katie Johnson, though, let me just give you a little list here. Hold on. Let me find my list. I made a list. Where did it go? Here. Here's just a short list of things that are verified, factual information, undisputed, uncontested, This is just what it is. Trump told New York Magazine in 2002 he had known Epstein for 15 years, placing the start of the friendship in the 80s. Quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Flight logs released during Maxwell's trial confirmed Trump flew on Epstein's private jet multiple times in the 90s. On one 1993 flight, Trump and Epstein were the only two listed passengers. NBC archival footage from 1992 shows Trump and Epstein together at a Mar-a-Lago party, chatting and pointing at women dancing. Ghislaine Maxwell is visible in the background. Yeah, I've played that footage on my channel before. Photographs from February 2000 show Trump, Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Melania Knauss together at Mar-a-Lago. Also present, Prince Andrew, now stripped of his royal title, of course. Epstein attended Trump's 1993 wedding to Marla Maples, confirmed by CNN video and photos. Former Trump Plaza COO Jack O'Donnell told CNN in 2025 that, in his view, Epstein was Trump's best friend. Epstein's brother Mark said in 2024 that Epstein stopped associating with Trump when he realized Trump was a crook. Mark also disputed Trump's claim he was never in Epstein's office, saying a victim described a disturbing encounter with Trump there in 1995. Trump has given at least 3 different explanations across multiple years: that Epstein stole young women from Mar-a-Lago, that Epstein was a creep, and that a real estate bidding war over a Palm Beach mansion in 2004 was the source of the fallout. According to Virginia Guffrey, which is one of the main Epstein victims, she is deceased now. She was a teenage spa attendant at Mar-a-Lago in summer of 2000. She was recruited from Trump's property by Maxwell into Epstein's trafficking network. Social Security records submitted in Guffrey's defamation case against Maxwell confirm her employment there. Trump acknowledged in July 2025 that Epstein stole Guffrey from his spa, confirming he was aware of Maxwell's recruitment activity at his property. He said Jeffrey stole his employees and he told him to stop. I don't even know if that's real. But the fact that he was aware that Epstein was on the prowl for young women, for girls, and didn't do anything about it of substance should tell you something, right? In a January 2019 email to journalist Michael Wolff, Epstein wrote, Trump said he asked me to resign. Never remember ever. Of course, he knew about the girls, and he asked Ghislaine to stop, quote unquote. In April 2011 email to Maxwell, Epstein wrote, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Blank spent hours at my house with him, a victim. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Maxwell replied, I've been thinking about that. The White House says the redacted victim is Guffrey, who did not accuse Trump of wrongdoing. Then there's the birthday book letter. The Wall Street Journal reported that a leather-bound book compiled by Maxwell for Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003 contained a note appearing to be from Trump, featuring a drawing of a nude woman and text. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. A pal's a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. In a 2005 Howard Stern interview, Trump bragged about going backstage at pageants while contestants were undressed. I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women, so I sort of get away with things like that. That's referencing the Miss Teen USA / Miss Universe pageants. By the way, Miss Teen USA. Does anybody really wonder if he was a pedophile? Miss Teen USA? Are you fucking kidding me? It's like a pedophile convention, right? Why would there be a Miss Teen USA run by a bunch of 50, 60, 70-year-old dudes? So let's talk about Katie Johnson next. Katie Johnson is an alias. In 1994, the plaintiff says she was 13 years old and living in New York. She was approached with promises of modeling work and brought to parties at Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan townhouse at 9 East 71st Street. Oh, by the way, wow, I lived like literally a block from there. That's crazy. Yeah, I was on 72nd Street. That's nuts. East 72nd. Anyway, by the way, that's not to, let's not forget about the Epstein victim that came from Miss Teen USA pageants. She was in Miss Teen USA and then ended up in Jeffrey Epstein's sphere, in his trafficking network. That's fucking weird. What about Michael Wolff, Epstein and Trump's biographer, describing pictures that he had seen with his own eyes? This is, mostly trustworthy information, but he likes to sensationalize a little bit. He says he saw pictures of Donald Trump sitting at a pool with 4 or 5 other, or not other, but 4 or 5 girls, young girls around him, pointing at a stain on his pants and laughing. At 4 separate parties, back to Katie Johnson, she alleges she was taken advantage of and assaulted by both Epstein and Trump. She stated she did not know who Trump was at the time of the alleged assaults and identified him later when she saw him on television. In a sworn declaration included in the New York filing, she wrote, "I loudly pleaded with Defendant Trump to stop, but he did not. Defendant Trump responded to my pleas by violently striking me in the face with his open hand and screaming that he would do whatever he wanted." An anonymous witness identified as Tiffany Doe submitted an affidavit claiming she had been employed by Epstein to procure underage girls and had personally witnessed the assaults. She stated Epstein told her Trump was a well-known businessman who paid for sex with minors. A second anonymous witness, Joan Doe, claimed to be a classmate who said the plaintiff told her about the assaults at the time they occurred. Both witnesses remain unidentified for their own safety. So here's what happened in court. April 2016, a pro se complaint filed without an attorney was submitted in federal court in Riverside, California. The plaintiff identified herself as Katie Johnson. The complaint sought $100 million in damages and cited 18 U.S.C. Section 2241 and 42 U.S.C. and 42 U.S.C. Section 1985 as the basis for federal jurisdiction. Court mail sent to the plaintiff's listed address in 29 Palms, California, was returned undeliverable. In May 2016, the following month, federal judge Dolly M.G. dismissed the case. The ruling was on procedural grounds. The complaint failed to state a valid claim under either of the cited statutes. The merits of the allegations were not reviewed. In June 2016, the plaintiff refiled in federal court in New York under the pseudonym Jane Doe, this time with legal representation. This version included the 2 anonymous supporting affidavits from Tiffany Doe and Joan Doe. It was withdrawn approximately 3 months later, apparently without having been served on the defendants. September 2016, the lawsuit was refiled again in the Southern District of New York. November 2nd, 2016, the plaintiff was scheduled to appear at a press conference at the law offices of attorney Lisa Bloom in Los Angeles 6 days before the presidential election. She did not appear. Bloom said she had received multiple threats and was too afraid to attend. That's Katie Johnson. There was no press about this. There's no going to the newspaper. There was no nothing. She went to the police and went to court. These witnesses, especially Jane Doe 4, is as credible as it gets. Donald Trump is a pedophile. If you don't believe that at this point, you're a cult member. Tell me what you think in the comments. All right, I think I was 10 minutes in. 1 second, 35. Oops. Oh my God. All right, cool. And then 35 for my timestamps. What do we hit next? Let me pull up my thingamajigger here. Paula White and evangelicals, Christian Zionists.
And so
yeah, let's talk about these. Open. Yep. And then these open. Good. As Christians, these people, all right, let me rephrase. Let me start that over. As Christians, these people, Michelle Bachmann and others, should be opposed to war, right? But bizarrely, Michelle Bachmann, Lance Wallnau, and all these other Trump Republicans, these Trump Christians, are all in for Donald Trump and for the war in Iran. Listen to what they have to say here. This is Michelle Bachmann, famously, I believe, one of the founding members of the Tea Party back, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, whenever it was. God, that was a long time ago. Listen to what she had to say here. Let's see. Nations based on Israel. These are in order. I think this one is the first. 43 months already. Awesome. I know. Thank you so much, Nariko. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate that.
And so I commend Donald Trump. I commend Benjamin Netanyahu. I truly believe, Greg, maybe we can talk about that a little later, but I truly believe that God ordained these two men to be the leaders of those nations at this exact time for this exact purpose.
Talking about for the war in Iran. Holy shit, bro. What a psychotic thing to say. You know why they're saying this? Because they think that Iran, the war in Iran, is the start of Armageddon. No joke.
We've all been given an opportunity to bless Israel. If we bless Israel, like I believe President Trump is doing now, then we will be blessed. I truly believe America is going to be blessed from this effort. And likewise, if we turn our back on Israel and curse them, then we're cursed as a nation. And the Bible bears that out. Again, there's only one criterion upon which nations are judged. That's how nations treat Zion. So at this moment, we have to do everything we can to ensure that President Trump has a House and a Senate that will work with him to advance peace and prosperity in America by being pro-Israel. So that's why the primary is extremely important.
Right. It's the golden age, but it's not just America's golden age. It's actually the golden age for the world.
Bro, these people are fucking psychotic, dude. On that note, I figured I might as well just show you. I've got this new website that I set up, wavemap.us, that I'm using to try to predict what's going to happen in the primaries, and I'm using a lot of standard model stuff. So is the country going in the right direction? That poll result is the basis for a lot of statistical modeling around the U.S. election. Generic ballot environment, presidential approval rating, consumer sentiment, like how's the economy doing, incumbency advantage. I mean, I've got all these sliders here, and you can kind of mess around with them to see what results you get. Like if you drag Democratic mobilization multiplier back, we're right now in Texas, we're seeing primary votes doubling the number of Democrats voting, and if that stands true across the country, we're looking at 60 votes in the Senate. But if you just drag it back to roughly where the Republicans are sitting, it looks kind of like this. Anyway, you can look at House races. You can drill down and look at specific jurisdictions and districts and everything, the whole nine. So it's really, really cool. I'm really proud of this program that I've written. And you can check it out, wavemap.us. Anyway. Sorry for that little aside. Listen to this next clip from Michelle Bachmann. Hang on, let me shut this door real fast. 1 second. Okay, sorry.
Many nations have nuclear weapons, but
okay,
only Iran has the will and the state of objective that they will use it. And
No. They don't have nuclear weapons, and they didn't say that they would use them against people. And also, they're not the only ones who we should be living in fear might use nuclear weapons. You forget about North Korea, who actually has them?
in their public square in Tehran, they have a square that has the countdown clock that says this is how long it will be until we annihilate, until we kill every Jew with a nuclear bomb in Israel. They're blatant about it. They want everybody to know this is who they are.
No need to wonder. Just loaded up our question gun. Let's go answer hunting. Here's what's real about this. There is an actual countdown clock in Tehran's Palestine Square. This is from Haaretz, by the way, unveiled on Quds Day in June 2017 that counts down to the predicted destruction of the state of Israel. It was programmed to count down to 2040, the year Khamenei declared Israel would be destroyed, because he's the religious leader or whatever. The clock is real, it's public, and it's genuinely alarming as a piece of state propaganda. However, her specific characterization saying that this is how long until we kill every Jew with a nuclear bomb, that's insane. This is a big problem. People failing to differentiate between Jews and Israel, Jews as people and the state of Israel. And also it says nothing about nukes.
Most people don't know that, but they're blatant about it because they're so filled with demonic rage. They're
Michelle Bachmann, they're filled with demonic rage, she says. The other guys are filled with demonic rage. Not this person, not me. The other people are filled with demonic rage. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people in the Middle East are filled with rage, without a doubt. Because Israel has come in and wreaked absolute fucking havoc on everything. Is literally committing a genocide in Gaza right now. Their leader, Netanyahu, is wanted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes. I believe for genocide, if I'm not mistaken. What a complete sack of shit. Iran's bad. I don't like Iran. I don't like the leadership in Iran, I mean, specifically. They're bad. Very, very bad. But don't try to twist this around and turn this into you're the victim, everyone else is the victim, and they're like the villain in this black and white ridiculous framing that you're laying down for us here.
filled with satanic rage, these ayatollahs. You could only hate someone if Satan was living inside of you.
You can only hate someone if Satan's living inside you. That's an interesting one. I'm going to remember that quote, Michelle.
It's the only way it could be. And so that's why they need to be defeated. They need to go. This isn't just a spat between nations over a border, a little bit of land. That isn't it. This literally goes back to the Garden of Eden with Satan and Satan's hatred for God.
She's saying that this is the start of Armageddon. That's what she means when she says that. That is horrifying. There have been some really wild, bizarre takes from Trumpists on the right over the Iran war. Like, the Iran war was completely unprovoked and was being managed diplomatically through the Iran deal. We didn't have to do this. This is completely unnecessary. Who wants war? Nobody should want war. Nobody. But Donald Trump's little sycophants have come along and found justifications for it. It is psychotic. This is Eric Metaxas, pretends to be a World War II scholar when he's actually a fraud. Completely rejected by the scholarly community because he got very basic things wrong in his book about World War II, like claiming that Hitler won his election. That's false. He didn't. But anyway, that's beside the point. Listen to what Eric Metaxas had to say here.
When something like this happens, the first thing that I think of is I trust President Trump. Okay? I don't worship President Trump. I trust President Trump.
Could have fooled me. You don't worship him? Okay, go on.
Because he has now, over a decade, proved to me that he is someone I can trust. This doesn't mean that he's going to get everything right.
Okay, how many women has he taken advantage of? I mean, I just did a recent episode about Donald Trump taking advantage of Jeffrey Epstein survivor known as Jane Doe 4. He took advantage of Katie Johnson, as far as we can tell. Those are just the minors. How many assault allegations does he have against him from adults? Found civilly liable of forcefully taking advantage of E. Jean Carroll? The list goes on. You trust this guy? Is there anything between those ears other than air?
That he is someone I can trust. This doesn't mean that he's going to get everything right. But I'm always amazed at how quickly people second guess and they act like, well, they've got more secret information than the president of the United States. And if the president of the United States was a jughead like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or a feckless, awful person like Barack Obama, that's another story. Then you don't know, you have no idea what they're thinking, what they're doing, and you can assume the worst most of the time.
Okay, you see what he just did here, right? You can see that he created an excuse for distrusting one president, but for trusting another one completely blindly. He says, we don't know what information he has. We have no right to question him. But we do have a right to question the other presidents that I don't like. What a fucking joke, dude.
But with President Trump, I think when you don't know quite what to think, you can trust him. You elected him. We elected him.
Hang on. I'm looking something up real fast for this. And by the way, he said Jughead. That's interesting. I wonder why he chose Jughead instead of Noodle, Dumbbell, an egg. That guy's a real egg. Or a bunk or a hooey. I mean, I just looked up insults from the 1920s. Horse feathers. Applesauce. Sick of this. Baloney. What a jughead. Anyway, if something fell. Anyway, he's not the only one. He and Michelle Bachmann are not the only ones that are out of their fucking minds and all in for death and destruction of innocent people. This is Lance Wallnau, a Christian Zionist, Christian nationalist, extremist nutcase who knows Trump, who has prayed with Trump and all of it.
I believe, and I got the news in a pretty good source, Donald Trump was really trying to offer an olive branch to them before this happened.
He didn't need to do that. We had the Iran deal, which guaranteed that they would not reach nuclear proliferation, and they were abiding by it flawlessly. Why would Donald Trump have to be up in there anywhere at all?
Trying to offer an olive branch to them before this happened. He wanted the denuclearizing, uncompromising, and he wanted there to be a different policy regarding the protests and the people, the right of the people to not be harassed.
For the record, Trump said that he had been planning this for months, so this is just a made-up lie.
And I think, if I want to be theological about it, I think the same way that God hardened Pharaoh's heart, God made the Iranians just recalcitrant. They refused to budge. And when Trump saw that...
Are you fucking kidding me? What are you talking about? We had the Iran deal. We had a deal on paper that they were abiding by that would prevent them from reaching nuclear proliferation. And Donald Trump tore it up. You cannot tell me that they had hardened hearts. This is complete and total bullshit. And he knows that. He must know that.
They were not going to move, and that there was no sense in delay. He went ahead and made the decision, as he always does. The Jewish people will be celebrating Purim this coming week. Isn't it interesting that the ancient stronghold of the Prince of Persia that sought to exterminate all the Jews is now coming down again under the authority of another modern day ruler who the prayers of God's people have been empowering, so that during their Feast of Purim, when they had a reversal of a destructive threat, we're watching that reversal happen again in our days. So things are happening right in alignment with actual feast days. By the way,
What is he even talking about? He said that the Persians were in opposition to the Jews. No, they weren't. All that time ago, Cyrus the Great from Persia freed the Jews from captivity, famously. It's probably the most famous moment in the entire Bible regarding Persia. He freed the Jews from captivity in Babylon. I don't know what he's going on about right now. This is nonsense.
Hamas attacked Israel on the October 11th was the first day of the Feast of Tabernacles.
October 7th, but okay.
There's always a feast day manifestation because Israel and the return of Jesus is back on the menu.
The return of Jesus is back on the menu. That shit should disturb the hell out of you. This is about sparking Armageddon. They are trying to spark Armageddon. These people are fucking broken inside. All right, just write down my timestamps. How much? Let's see, 52. Yeah, I think that's enough. Anyway, tell us what you think about it in the comments. This is insane. These people are absolutely insane. They are broken inside. 53. All right, which one do we want to hit next? Let's see. So I hit Christian Zionists, delete tab. I have not hit Shane Vaughn yet, though. Let's hit Shane Vaughn. All right, cool. Yeah. And let me just write down my timestamp. This starts at 54. Leave? Yes. Awesome. This is Shane Vaughn, full-blown MAGA cultist, explaining why the war in Iran is actually a good thing.
You know, there was a man in the Bible by the name of King Saul.
Uh-huh.
And God saw that there was a group of people called the Amalekites.
Amalekites, yep.
That hated Israel. The Amalekites had one desire: to destroy Israel from under the sun.
Well, this is being conveyed to us through the lens of Israel from 3,000 years ago, but sure, I suppose. If you don't know the story, King Saul was in charge of Israel before King David, and he was coming after David. Saul was a bad guy generally in the Bible, like he's portrayed negatively, and he ran David out of Israel and into Judea, which was also occupied by Jews, but they were two different countries, kind of. Sumeria was the capital of Israel, where Samaritans came from. And Judea had Jerusalem as the capital, I believe. Anyway, he ran David out into Judea, where he built a band of merry men who would eventually come back to take the throne from Saul. Anyway, in that period, Saul and eventually David, who killed Saul and took the throne, and eventually I believe Solomon as well, ordered lots of genocides. They ordered the genocide of the Amalekites, of the Hittites, of the Canaanites, and a bunch of other groups, because they wanted to control the entire region. That's the story. So Shane Vaughn is recounting to us a story of when Israel was ordered to genocide a group of people. Go on.
Desire to destroy Israel from under the sun. And God raised up King Saul and told Saul, I want you to preemptively strike the Amalekites. I want you to go in and kill every man, woman, boy, and girl. And I don't want you to explain it to Congress. I don't want you to explain it to anybody. I want you to do what needs to be done to preserve my people a little longer on the face of the earth. Now,
So he's openly encouraging genocide here. He's saying, I want to genocide Iran, right? That's the point of this analogy, isn't it? That I want a genocide?
Now, if King Saul was to do that today, the entire world would turn against him. But you see, when God is in something and a man doesn't care what the world thinks, he is obeying the dictates of God himself. When God raised up Donald Trump, Iran is to America what Amalek was to Israel. The same thing.
Says who? Is that in the Bible? Iran must be destroyed. Every man, woman, and child in the country should be murdered. Is that in the Bible? I don't remember seeing that. In the year 2026 or whatever? Is it in the Bible that Donald Trump should genocide a group of people? This is why it's so incredibly important that we keep religion out of government. Because, what's the saying? Let me find it. Hold on. Let me look it up. Hold on. Steven Weinberg's line, with or without religion, good people can behave well and bad people can do evil, but for good people to do evil, that requires religion. Shane Vaughn is endorsing and calling for actual full-blown genocide. And he is not the only one. Greg Locke is calling for genocide as well. And here's the psychotic justification for him. He says in the Bible, the Canaanites were genocided. God ordered all Canaanites to be genocided. He said they must all be killed. Wipe them all out, man, woman, child, and baby. And Greg Locke discovered recently that Lebanese people who live in Lebanon have 90% Canaanite DNA, which means Lebanon should be genocided by the United States and Israel. He wants to murder every man, woman, and child, and every baby. Every pregnant woman, everything. Every living thing in Lebanon should be murdered and replaced with Jews from Israel. That's what he's saying.
I whisper something. Right now, they possess much less land than God's actually given them. And there will come a day they'll own all of it. They'll get the parts of Lebanon. They'll get the parts of Iran. They'll get the parts of Syria. They'll get a little bit of Turkey. They will get all that God has promised them. Because when Joshua walked the land, God said, I'm telling you right now, everything you can walk and everything you can see, I'll give it to you. And let me just say this by way of some vision casting. If you can see far, God will take you far. And the Bible says that God established his covenant with these people. He remembered it forevermore unto the land of Canaan. He said, it's all yours. That promised land, it's all yours. Now, let me just say something. I shared this with my wife this morning. This is just a moment of clarity for our church. Okay, everybody say global vision.
Global vision.
One more time.
Global vision.
So this is an application. I'm not writing a book or building a theological premise on this, okay? But I find it interesting that in order to come into Canaan land, they had to conquer the Canaanites.
You mean genocide. Why aren't they using that word? Why do they keep using biblical language? Use the real word. They had to genocide the Canaanites. You know, the Canaanites were just another people group that like lived in the area at the time. They were just minding their own fucking business, living their lives.
Now, there is no official group today called the Canaanites. But I find it interesting. Did you know there is a group of people, there is a country that has 90% DNA connection to the Canaanites? You ready for it? It's Lebanon. The Lebanese people have 90% DNA connection to the Canaanite. And I read that this morning, and I came and I told my wife over a cup of coffee, and I'm going to cry about it right now. It may be just an application, but I said the Lord has sent us in to conquer.
The excitement over the prospect of genocide is just dark. I don't know what word to use other than dark. Like, what the fuck is happening right now in the United States? In the world. There is so much suffering in the world. It is wild. Unnecessary suffering. Literally crying over the prospect of genocide. Are you kidding me? I'm saying that word so much, I'm probably going to have to beep some of it out.
Coffee, and I'm going to cry about it right now. It may be just an application, but I said the Lord has sent us in to conquer these Lebanites, amen, for the gospel of Jesus Christ. Lebanon shall be ours. God moved us from Egypt to the promised land, church.
Wait, why is he saying us? Does he consider himself Jewish, or?
He moved us to the promised land.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. These people are broken inside. Like, I don't know how we got to the point where we are literally seeing people cheer for genocide in the United States now. That is absolutely insane. Hold on. Wait 1 second. I'm looking for a video. And then there's this little ditty from Shane Vaughn.
These tariffs, they are not just...
No, this isn't the right one. I'm sorry. Hold on. This is the one. My mistake.
We would never be this defensive of Donald Trump if you would not have forced us into this cult mentality. Yeah, we would now fight for Donald Trump. Why? We believe in justice. And when we see a man that God's put his hand on being attacked.
Oop, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit that button. Let me step back and I'll trim that out.
Being attacked night and day, you are forcing us to look like a cult. We're patient.
It's my fault. I'm forcing him to be a cult member.
And steadfast in our support of a single man. We are cult followers. Yes, we follow a man. Yes, we do. We drank the Kool-Aid and it's orange.
He's fucking vile, dude. All of these people are vile and evil, and Jesus fucking Christ. Literally calling for genocide. That's not, how do you one-up that? How do you beat that? That is fucking evil. That is the root of all fucking evil. And these people, like these MAGA extremists like Shane Vaughn, Greg Locke, and people like that, they need to be removed from power and never allowed anywhere near it ever again. Jesus Christ. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people are sick. All right, so that was 105. So that's 3 episodes. And then Shane Vaughn, complete. By the way, also, don't just check out wavemap.us, which I created, but you can also go to firesidewatch.com, which is my website. You can watch stuff together where everyone controls the remote. That's the tagline. Watch together, everyone controls the remote. You can watch YouTube or Twitch or Twitter or whatever, and everybody can play and pause at the same time. Unlimited room members, mostly. And everyone in the room can play and pause. So it's pretty cool. And it pauses for everybody else. All right, let's see. The next one. Hold on. What's
You're faithful.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Let me open this. Hagee. Okay, cool. I don't know if you guys are familiar with John Haidt. Hang on. I'm sorry. Let me just find a shot of him. You can't see him very well. Let me find another video of him. Open. All right, yeah. That'll work. I don't know if you're familiar with John Hagee, but he's a very famous pastor, megachurch pastor or whatever, who, as we know, is going to support Donald Trump's war with Iran because these people will find any excuse to support Donald Trump through literally anything that he does. But they made a full movie trailer for the war in Iran, and it was as psychotic as it sounds. Listen to this. This is at their church service the other day.
A headline that shook the world.
Join you right now with breaking news from the Middle East. Israel has launched preemptive airstrikes against the Islamic Republic of Iran.
The United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
I get really sick of them saying preemptive. There's nothing preemptive about it. Iran was not planning on attacking anybody, but okay, whatever.
Sirens are wailing, and prophecies written thousands of years ago are stepping onto the world stage. Explosions over Tehran, retaliatory strikes, nations choosing sides, and the world asks, is this just another war? History is not random. Empires will rise, empires will fall, but the word of God will stand forever. Iran, Israel, America, where are we in the unfolding plan of God?
And the Bible says, when you see these signs, lift up your heads and rejoice. Your redemption draweth nigh.
Operation Epic Fury. God is coming, it says.
Will you please stand for the reading of God's word?
Jesus Christ. So the point is that these people are excited about it, waiting for it with bated breath. There is a silver lining behind every mushroom cloud, and that should be disturbing as fucking shit to everybody. If you don't know John Hagee, let me lay a little bit down about this guy. Listen to this one. This one is from 2015, June 20th, 2015.
The Supreme Court in Washington has handed down its decision in a 5-4 ruling supporting same-sex marriage. But the Supreme Court in heaven has handed down its unanimous decision in a 3-0 ruling from...
Wait. Does heaven have a Supreme Court? This is news to me.
God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, recorded in the book of Genesis chapter 2:24, stating, therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Marriage is exclusively between a man and a woman. Same-sex marriage will never be accepted in heaven as legitimate, so says God Almighty. This Supreme Court has made America the new Sodom and Gomorrah. God will have to judge America, or he's going to have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Colossal scumbag, dude. Why is it so hard for you to allow people to just live their fucking lives? Why is that so difficult for you? Why can't you run your little church back there and not marry gay couples if you don't want, but leave everybody else alone? Why is that such a struggle for you? Additionally, that verse he cited about, you know, a man leaving his whatever and cleaving to a woman, so on and so forth, that is the only section that could have possibly been construed in any way as Jesus speaking about being gay at all, in any form. Jesus didn't say a single word about being gay. And I argue that the New Testament didn't say anything about it either. And it's not just me. I'm basing what I'm saying right now off of what scholars have said in the field. There's a famous verse, Romans 1:28, that says something about it being an abomination or whatever. That verse is actually about idolatry, not about being gay. But in the 1800s, the Schofield Reference Bible released and completely changed the verbiage around to reinterpret it as being negative toward gay people. Anyway, these people find any reason to hate others, obviously. There's a bunch of psychotic stuff from this guy, actually, and famously in 2008, he endorsed John McCain, who was like the front runner, or who was like the Republican nominee for president when he endorsed him, I believe. And McCain had to withdraw his endorsement, or not withdraw, but decline to accept the endorsement from Hagee. Because it turns out Hagee is a Nazi. Listen to this. This audio was very difficult to find.
Again he said unto me, prophesy unto these bones, and say unto them, O you dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. And he spoke to them, and they stood, and they became an exceeding great army, meaning they physically came to life.
This is called apocalyptic writing, and it was a genre of writing in the book of Ezekiel, kind of like sci-fi or fantasy or romance or whatever. It was never intended to be written or to be read literally. It was just a style of writing that was under development at the time that we just don't have anymore. And again, with the Schofield Reference Bible, it was really popular to reinterpret apocalyptic texts, which aren't even, it's like there are extra biblical texts outside of the Bible with the apocalyptic genre. But, you know, Christian nutcases love reading these apocalyptic texts and interpreting them in an entirely different way than it was intended. But okay, that's what he's reading from right now. Whoop.
Now, how is God going to bring them back to the land? The answer is fishers and hunters. The answer is given in Jeremiah 16, verse 15 and following.
So he's saying, how is God going to bring them back to the land? He's applying this apocalyptic writing to Jews. How is God going to bring Jewish people back to Israel?
God says in Jeremiah 16, behold, I will bring them, the Jewish people, again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. That would be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Behold, I will send for many fishers, and after will I send for many hunters. And they, the hunters, shall hunt them. That will be the Jews. From every mountain and from every hill and from out of the holes of the rocks. If that doesn't describe what Hitler did in the Holocaust, you can't see that.
So he's saying God sent Hitler to bring the Jews back to Israel. He's saying Hitler was part of God's grand design, his grand plan to bring Jews back to Israel. That's fucking psychotic. Unfortunately, this is standard Republican talking points at this moment, and nobody would bat an eye at this. But this was so scandalous at the time. Hang on, let me find it. That McCain rejected the endorsement.
The past 24 hours have been extremely painful and disappointing to me. My disappointment has nothing to do with the fact that I parted company with Senator John McCain. This was by far the best for both of us and best for the country.
Yeah.
It is time for the candidates and the media to turn their attention back to the pressing issues of our day and stop focusing upon what I did or did not say decades ago. What has been most disappointing to me is to see my life's work, the great passion of my life, mischaracterized and attacked.
He doesn't get it, does he? He's still fucking gone.
I have dedicated my life to combating anti-Semitism and supporting the state of Israel. In taking a stand for Israel, I have received death threats from anti-Semites and neo-Nazis.
I bet.
I have had the windows of my car blown out beneath the windows of the rooms in which my children slept.
Totally. I believe you.
To hear people who know nothing about me or my life's work claim that I somehow excuse the Holocaust is simply untrue and heartbreaking. I have always condemned the horrors of the Holocaust in the strongest terms.
Condemned, maybe, but excused and found a way to work it into God's plan. And seemingly are like excited about it. Wanted this to happen. Believe that this is what's best. Right? God sent Hitler to drive the Jews back to Israel. How do you not see that as a good thing in your framework?
But even more importantly, my abhorrence of the Holocaust and anti-Semitism has never stopped with mere words. I have devoted most of my adult life to ensuring that there will never be a second Holocaust.
Give it a fucking rest. Today, now, he is encouraging what amounts to a genocide. We're hearing people like Pete Hegseth and others say things like, you know, every man, woman, and child is going to be dead. It's real horrifying stuff. Not to mention, not to mention all of the other Christian nationalists and what they're saying. Listen to this. This is William Wolf. Yeah, this is William Wolf. He was in the Trump administration, I believe, in 2016 to 2020. And he's a Christian nationalist. He lines up with Hagee's beliefs on nearly everything.
I'm a Bible-believing Christian, and we're going to get into why Bible-believing Christians can very easily say, it's time for you to go. But that just sort of rubbed me the wrong way, because I have 3 boys, and I got a 4th boy on the way, and my boys all look like me. And I want my children to grow up in a country where they're not minorities. I unapologetically, and I'm sorry if this offends anybody here or anybody who listens to this, I am actually not sorry. I want my boys to grow up in a country where they don't look like they're the foreigners here. That's a good and normal and reasonable thing. Thank you.
So you know what I'm hearing when I hear him say this? I'm hearing, I don't want my kid marrying a black person. Why? What's the problem with that? What is the issue with somebody marrying somebody that they love? Ultimately, that's the point. I want my children to look like me. I don't want white people to be a minority. Why? What's the issue?
And there's nothing about my Christian faith that says I can't want that or desire that for myself and for my children.
I mean, it's pure unadulterated racism, obviously. What about Matthew 25, 35 to 40? Jesus at the final judgment, I was a stranger and you invited me in. Whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me. The Greek word for stranger here is xenos, literally foreigner or alien. Hebrews 13:2, do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. Romans 12:13, practice hospitality. Luke 10:25 25 to 37, the Good Samaritan parable where Jesus deliberately makes the hero a despised ethnic outsider and tells the audience to emulate him. Ephesians 2:19, you are no longer foreigners and strangers, but fellow citizens with God's people. Paul uses the immigrant experience as a metaphor for Gentile inclusion. 1 Peter 4:9, offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. But that's just the New Testament. I could go way back. The Old Testament is very positive toward foreigners. Now, what about this? No, you know what? Before I hit that, hang on. Let me find. Let me find it. 1 second.
I want every.
Yeah, it's this one. No.
Justice Scalia.
I have
the. When you.
Could have sworn I had a video. Check this one out from Hagee. He also does not like immigrants or foreigners, just like William Wolf doesn't.
I want every American to hear this very clearly.
By the way, this is from 2014. if you weren't paying attention politically, Ebola was Fox News's pet project. They were trying to make everyone think we were about to catch Ebola any 5 minutes now.
The prophet Joel says in the 3rd chapter, I, God, will bring all nations, and hear that phrase, all nations includes America, into judgment. For they have divided up my land, the land of Israel. God says when any nation divides up the land of Israel, they are subject to judgment. And dividing Jerusalem is dividing the land. Our president is dead set on dividing Jerusalem.
Jerusalem's been divided for who knows how long. Half of it exists in Israel, half exists in Palestine. Obama was not dividing the land. What is he even talking about?
God is watching, and he will bring America into judgment. There are grounds to say judgment has already begun because he, the president, has been fighting to divide Jerusalem for years now.
No, what are you even talking about? This is complete fucking nonsense. And don't you love how this is 12 years ago? And he's never going to admit he was wrong about this, obviously, right?
We are now experiencing the crisis of Ebola. We have a crisis in our economy. We are worried on every hand that we're going to be attacked by radical Islam. And there's some very rational voices saying we are their next target.
Very rational voices, huh?
We are a nation that has a crisis of leadership. We are in chaos and crisis. Anarchy is running our nation in Ferguson, Missouri.
I thought that this was the video where he talks about the caravan coming up from the border or whatever. I don't know if you guys remember the caravan, but during one of Trump's elections, there was a supposed caravan of immigrants roving up through Mexico, Central America and Mexico, to reach the United States and integrate in like sleeper cells or some insane shit. And then just like that, when the election ended, no more caravan. No one even discussed it ever again. I thought he talked about it in this, but the point is these people fucking hate immigrants, which is an unbiblical position, by the way, obviously, as I showed you. This is a video of the White House and all of their weird little spiritual advisors praying for war in Iran.
We are honored to come before your presence today, lifting up the arms of our president. We pray for your continued blessing and favor to rest upon him. We pray for wisdom from heaven to flood his heart, his mind, and Lord, you will guide him in these challenging times that we're facing today.
I'm sorry, why is he orange? I have to ask, why the fuck is this guy orange? Do they even sell that shade of, I don't know, primer or what the fuck kind of makeup do you get for this? I don't know. Where did he get that? And why does he smear it all over his face like a fucking clown? I just don't get it.
I pray for your grace and your protection over him. Yes. I pray for your grace and protection over our troops and all of our men and women serving in our armed forces. Yes. And Father, we just pray you'll continue to give our president the strength that he needs to lead our great nation as we come back to one nation under God, yes, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We pray your heavenly blessing upon him in Jesus' name. Amen.
These people are literally praying, like in their churches and in front of their audiences and everywhere else, for war in Iran. You can see here on the right, it's Robert Jeffress, and we've got Paula White with her hand on his shoulder there, or whatever. These are all absolutely insane, all of these people. I think, is that TD Jakes in the back? No way. Anyway, every last one of these people are insane. The evangelicals have lost the fucking plot, dude. They lost the plot a long time ago. Tell me what you think in the comments. 25. Alrighty. Hagee. Sorry, one second. I'm just looking here. Delete. Got it. Okay. So we hit Hagee. We didn't hit Greg Locke yet. We hit Shane Vaughn. We got Christian nationalists. Let's just let's take a look through here. Okay. Years ago, there was a subreddit called The Donald, r/The Donald. They were banned from Reddit for being too extreme, and they created their own subreddit style thing called TheDonald.win. There was some dispute with the subreddit, or there was some dispute with the URL, so now they're Patriots.win. And it's like basically an extremist cell. It is a glimpse into Donald Trump's supporters' minds, and it's horrifying. Lots of slurs, lots of racism and misogyny and hate of all sorts. And it's a good way to see where the movement is at any given moment. So I just kind of want to glance through and see what they're up to right now. Some of the top posts. Chuck Schumer just openly admitted millions of ineligible voters would be purged from the rolls if the Save America Act passes. Smoking jars of metal and fuses. Oh, God, what's this? No Muslims don't do that. You are the religion of peace, according to George W. Bush. What? I'm just looking through. Hang on. FBI case update. What's this? An update on yesterday's incident in New York near Gracie Mansion. 2 subjects were arrested on scene yesterday and remain in custody. FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force is investigating the matter with our partners at NYPD, as well as the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, I assume. Right. I think what they're probably referring to is... I actually lived right near Gracie Mansion until very recently. I think there was some group of nutcases at Carl Schurz Park, which I went to all the time. It's crazy. Some weird little group of like 10, 15 nutcases who were like holding a vigil for Khomeini, I think. Now, Khomeini was a bad guy, obviously. But you can't be surprised when a city with like 6 million people in it, I think, has like 15 nutcases in it who were mourning Khomeini's death. And now the FBI is investigating these people. Not the Proud Boys and right-wing extremists who came to harass them, but just the people holding a vigil, okay? Hang on, let me just... Short-term oil prices, which will drop rapidly when the destruction of Iran nuclear threat is over, is a very small price to pay for the USA. Yeah, let's start here. This is where the episode should start. Just put a note in here. 129. All right. I'll put the intro in here. Just an editing reminder. Short-term oil prices, which will drop rapidly when the destruction of the Iran nuclear threat is over, is a very small price to pay for USA and world safety and peace. Only fools would think differently. President DJT. Let's see what these nutcases are saying. Easy for him to say. The average person isn't a billionaire who can freely travel at government expense. Wow, we've got a negative post about Donald Trump. I'm surprised. He keeps insulting his own base. We aren't a cult. Are you fucking kidding me, right? This cannot be real. We aren't a cult. We don't have to praise every single action he takes. Sick of these purity tests. Yup, we were the fools who voted for the guy who promised no new wars. That's fascinating, dude. It looks like they're turning on him over Iran. The problem is, like, half of Trump's base is full-blown Hitler-loving, Sieg-heiling neo-Nazis. And the other half are Zionist extremists who want to bring about Armageddon by bombing the Middle East. So I guess Patriots.win is probably largely made up of the neo-Nazis. He ran in attacking Iran, you stupid fuck, okay? And no new wars. I hate to say it, but this is a war, and Iran is going to play a different war than we are. They're going to play jihad, even if it means mass casualties on their side. It's like telling Iran to straighten up or we will attack you. He was giving them a heads up. Clearly, Iran thought he wasn't serious. This isn't a new war, this person says. Oh my God, dude. This isn't a new war. Iran has been a threat and have been killing Americans and the Iranian people for 40 plus years, and no one did shit about it. Now that we are destroying these blow-up dolls, what? We are in a new war. Fuck out of here. Wow, okay. R-word Fuentes fanboy detected. Someone might want to tell him that, but it seems he's surrounded himself with yes men, just like his first term. Tired of gaslighting. Just put the people who are funding everything first, for Christ's sake. His base is the Zionist donor Epstein class. You're here to pay the taxes and spill the blood on their behalf. You're a Panikin? I don't know what that is. I hope I didn't just say a slur. There's some real bad stuff. Oh, Panikin, like Republican that panics? Okay. There's some really bad slurs, bad stuff here. Yep, I'm a Panikin, woke Reich, Storm, F slur, fake MAGA. I'm not going to repeat some of these because they're slurs, or I don't know what they are. Fuck off, R-word. You don't speak for the base. Neither do you. You barely qualify to speak for yourself. Neither do you. If it's such a small price, why doesn't he pay it? Why do I have to pay it? Specifically voted against this. Stupid poor people, you fucking fools. Stop whining. Buy my watch on Newsmax. That is wild, dude, and it's getting a bunch of upvotes. That's a fascinating glimpse into the MAGA headspace on the Iran war, right? They're very opposed to it, apparently. Do you have a trading card instead? Maybe an NFT, a coin? How about stakes or something? This is another top-level comment. That's if this operation is short. Unconditional surrender comment kind of suggests this will be a long, dragged-out war or using a nuke. I hope I'm wrong. Who cares about oil prices when Israel needs support, /S? Please stop. Glenn Beck might read this and explode. Lindsey Graham will come by and see the leftover pieces and then melt down into a puddle. Wow, that's wild, dude. I didn't actually expect them to be opposed to what he was doing. Boots on the ground from a freedom. USA, baby. Kill, kill, kill is the only way to feel better. This has 6 upvotes. Every failing system throughout history has looked for external enemies to blame in order to distract people living within it from realizing that the system has failed. Do you have any actual evidence of this? Nope, didn't think so. I wish I knew what this word was. M-U-Z-Z-I-E. I've never heard that word before, but I feel like it's a slur. Let me look it up. Oh, it's a derogatory slur for Muslims. I didn't realize. A dismissive, dehumanizing shorthand used by far-right and anti-Islam communities. Okay. M-word, I guess. I don't know if it's even a slur. It is a slur? Okay. I shouldn't say it then. That's wild. It's cool, bro. There seems to be a lot of guys on this forum that are ready to join the fight. Bunch of brave patriots ready to put their money where their mouths are. What boots on the ground exactly? This person, I guess, is probably in favor of the war, but is trying to take the nuanced approach, you see, of not being in favor of boots on the ground. What a fucking joke. If don't think special forces haven't already been on the ground, then you haven't been paying attention. Small numbers of special force dudes doing special forces things is not even the same ballpark as an Iraq/Afghanistan style invasion, and some people seem unable to tell the difference. That's fair enough, I suppose. All right, let's look at the next comment. What the fuck happened to this guy? They're talking about Donald Trump? I don't know, but he's basically nuked the rest of his term. The only possible rationale is he caved to Zionists to get the SAVE Act passed, which is about as Faustian a bargain as you can get. Wow. Deal with the devil, by the way, is what Faustian bargain means. AKA trading war for a set of laws that won't be enforced once he's out of office. Whatever in the long term, this is the, whatever in the long term, this is the end of Zionists. Millennials and Gen Z are so absolutely black-pilled on Jews that Republicans are going to be bragging about not kissing the wall here in 10 years' time. Yeah, my grandkids make Holly jokes all the time now. Started around 6 months ago. What is that? Let me see if I can look that one up. If that's not a slur, is it? Please tell me no. Hold on. Oh, hollow hoax jokes. Holly jokes. Holocaust. It's short for Holocaust. I see. My grandkids that make Holocaust jokes all the time now. Started 6 months ago. Wow. Jesus fucking Christ. Because Nick is becoming the most prominent voice in politics, not even on the far right or the right, but in the entire sphere of it. He's talking about Nick Fuentes. Okay, that's delusion. He did the same during BBB. It's like burning the house down to move to a new house. All right, here's the next comment thread. I can't wait to also pay all my tax dollars to Iran to rebuild it. Oh, and Israel when the war is done. Nothing like bombing a country, then getting fleeced to rebuild it. Let's just look at some of the other top-level comments. It's not a small price to pay when I never supported this war to begin with, and now I have to pay more every time I get gas and every time I go grocery shopping too, because everything indirectly becomes more expensive due to gas fueling everything, because we don't like that Iran has an Islamic government. So you're telling me you didn't vote for Trump because Trump ran on this all 3 runs for office, idiot. Wow. Sick burn. Some people are able to remember that Iran was destabilizing the Middle East, which already led to oil prices increasing several times in the past 20 years. Oh my God. What a ridiculous excuse. A ridiculous excuse for going to war and all this. It's insane. It's all fun and games until you realize most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and are really suffering at home, causing more economic uncertainty already on the edge will probably lead this country into full-blown communism. Oh my God. These people are detached from reality, dude. There are no prominent communists running for office or involved in U.S. government to any degree at all. Like, dude, can they even define communism? I would bet not. Communism is when China. 138. Yeah, okay, we got some time still. Let's look at some more comments here. So this person said, it's not a small price to pay when I never supported the war to begin with. And then this person says, then you didn't vote for Trump. Go ahead, admit it. You didn't vote for Trump. People who voted for Trump are the same people that understood why we were increasing tariffs and understood that it was an investment into the future. But you whiny bitches here that can't look past right now and poor fucks because of it, you aren't Trump supporters. You didn't vote for Trump. You are F-slurs for gay people. We can all smell the Reddit on you. No, I guess Reddit is bad. Voted for Trump in 2016, my first presidential election. I was eligible to vote. 2020 and 2024, triple Trumper. So fuck off with that purity test shit. I don't give a shit about the tariffs, this war, and the oil/gas increase. However, I do care about, since I'm directly affected, since money is tight, you gigantic douchebag. I can barely afford shit as is. But fuck us small folk, right? Wow, dude, a fight in the comments. I voted for Trump in both 2020 and 24, you idiot. I never opposed tariffs. I think the tariffs were a good idea, but this war is not. The guy you're arguing with is quite the stupid bot. Why? Because I'm calling you F-slurs out? The truth is that I'm fucking up your little bullshit, and the fact that you are making comments like you are now says it's working. Congrats. Now I'm going to be pointing you F-slurs out everywhere. Jesus Christ, dude. And every comment on this thread has upvotes. All right, what about this one? I thought the Iranian nuclear threat was already dealt with successfully last time we bombed them. They do not like the Iran war. That is crazy. It was, hence the 8-month wait. It doesn't take decades to build a nuke, though. The U.S. started our program on June 18th, 1942, and had our first detonation on July 16th. Okay, that's so stupid, it's ridiculous. I looked into nuclear proliferation, if you're curious. This is how it works. When you want to build a nuke, you need supplies of very specific materials that are difficult to get. Now, Iran is a large country, almost 100 million people. They could absolutely get those materials, and pretty quickly, too. But they couldn't do it covertly, and they couldn't test ICBM missiles, like missiles that are intercontinental, can go from, like, Iran to the United States, for example. You can't test that shit without everybody in the world knowing. They don't have ICBMs. They can't. They don't have that technology yet. They're not even close to that point. The moment you air traffic control, NORAD, and a bunch of other NATO-sponsored and controlled air traffic control systems are monitoring the skies at all times. And if a plane even deviates from its flight path a little bit, NORAD is aware of it. We would know the moment Iran tested an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile. And they haven't. They haven't even been testing. I think they have medium-range missiles. And as far as nuclear proliferation, actually building a bomb, you wouldn't want to build just one. You'd want to build multiple, because if you use that one, then your leverage is gone and you're fucked. The entire world turns on you. You need a minimum of 3 or 4. Ideally, you need 500 to 1,000. There's a map that you can look at. I forget what it's called, but it was released by FEMA. This is like in a 500 warhead yield scenario or 1,000 warhead yield scenario, I believe. The purple triangles are where, say, Russia would hit if they launched 500 warheads. If they launched 1,000, they would hit the black dots as well. The black dots here that are all clustered, these are our nuclear site locations. I think they're called our Minuteman missile locations or whatever. If they were just trying to destroy us, they'd launch 500 and they'd hit the entire eastern seaboard. They'd hit New York, they'd hit Pennsylvania, they'd hit everything. Florida, all along the coast, everywhere. There would be nowhere safe, basically, if they launched 500 nukes at us. This is a realistic scenario that we could expect if we actually entered full-blown nuclear war with a nuclear power. And if Iran doesn't have the capability to do this, then there's no real point in launching a nuke at all. Having it is just as much leverage as launching it. That's why they haven't bothered. So anyway, they would have to build a minimum of 5, at least. Launch at maybe 1 or 2 at Israel, probably. And then have a few others at different locations ready to go. You can't build one without the world knowing about it, because of the supplies that are required, because of the mines that you would have to open, because of all this shit. It's just not possible to build a nuke covertly in the world today. Iran does not have nukes, period. They just don't. And it would take them 10 years minimum to do it covertly, to build 5 covertly, secretly. If they started actually building a nuke, it would be a big fucking deal. So this person is just, they don't understand how this works. For them to say something like this, it doesn't take decades to build a nuke. The USA started our program on June 18th and had our first detonation on July 16th. We did not start our program and have a nuke a month later. It's ridiculous. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It says 3 years later. My mistake. June 18th, 42 to July 16th, 45. Also, those were atom bombs, not hydrogen bombs, which is what we have today, I believe. The point is, these people have no fucking clue what they're talking about. All right, let's look at the next comment. I'm still pissed off about the fraudsters making bank while I still got to pay taxes. I'm waiting to see how long this operation continues before passing judgment. If it ends up concluding like last year, then all the concerns are not coming to fruition. However, if it drags like Syria and Libya, then that is concerning. Born too early, born too late, born just in time. Another Middle East forever war on the menu. Yeah, wow, dude. It looks like they're really unhappy with this, with the war in Iran. That's fascinating. Unfortunately, for the average American, that was already paycheck to paycheck. It's a big deal and will cost the midterms. You don't increase $1 per gallon in some areas and think the average person would be okay with that, even short term. Yeah, on that note, I actually created this website, wavemap.us, where you can look at predictions and you can tweak the math to see how it changes outcomes in states. This is free. There aren't even ads on it. I'm just kind of proud of it. Anyway, but you can donate on my Patreon. That would be very appreciated. If you take a look here, consumer sentiment is one of those variables. It's very important in elections. University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index, low values signal economic pessimism, which historically hurts the president's party in midterms. The long-run average is negative 85. I'm sorry. The long-run average is about 85. Current reading reflects post-2020 pessimism, post-COVID and everything. So that's what they're talking about here. But yeah, wow, that's wild, dude. I did not actually expect them to be opposed to the Iran war. Very interesting. Tell me what you think in the comments. When you find something that hurts the Republican Party and Donald Trump, you need to hammer it hard. When, Jeffrey Epstein, that shit hurts Republicans. That hurts Donald Trump badly. You need to hammer that. You need to talk about it constantly. Go to Thanksgiving dinner with your family, hammer the Iran war and Jeffrey Epstein. Don't talk about tariffs. They've had time to stew on that and conclude that tariffs are good, even though they're not. Don't talk about his abuse of E. Jean Carroll. They've had time to rewrite his history to make it positive in his favor. Talk about tariffs. Talk about Iran and talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Tell me your thoughts. That's wild. I did not see that coming. 148. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, good. See here. There are so many one-off videos that I want to cover, but they're too short for a full segment. So Andrew Tate has a new take on the Iran war. Listen to what he says here. It's so stupid, dude.
To get back to fucking Dubai and walk the quarter deck like fucking Nelson. I'm gonna ride around on scooters saying, bomb me if you can. All you faggots running away. Oh, I found a way out. I found a way out via Oman. You're a fucking loser.
So it's cool to get bombed by Iran or the United States. And you're a loser and an idiot if you don't get bombed by Iran. Okay, great.
Loser. You can't spell Iran without saying I ran. This is gonna be like the vaccine all over again. You're gonna pussy out and everyone's gonna make fun of you later because you made a fucking bitch decision. You think I'd miss out on a chance to be stuck in the Middle East during a war? That sounds like a fucking epic story.
Okay.
Me, I'm there. Come get me. No war or no food. Dead policeman. I took his fucking gun.
But why would you want to do that? I don't understand. Why would you want to do that? Like, that sounds awful. You could be chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all. Maybe even playing some b-ball outside of a school. There's all kinds of fun shit you could be doing instead of stealing a gun from a dead cop. And doing what with it exactly? I have no fucking clue. It's cool to be bombed by Iran now.
I'm held up for the final fucking stand. I've lived long enough anyway.
The final stand. With who? Like, who are you standing against?
I'm taking the first fucking plane back. I am disappointed. I am stuck here in Bucharest, cruising around in my Koenigsegg Jesko. I don't want to be here. I want to be in Dubai, where the fucking action is.
Where the fuction action is. Okay.
I want to make a story. That's what I want to do. All you faggots running. God will never reward your cowardice. Karma is real. You're a fucking coward.
God will not reward your cowardice. Okay.
Oh, let me run. Oh my God, I'm so scared. I found a way out. You're a fucking coward, and you're gonna get what you deserve. Real niggers like me, I can't wait to fucking get back on the first fucking plane. Kill me. Kill me. Don't give a shit. Bored of the Jesko anyway. There's too much traffic. I'm coming ASAP. I am telling every fucking jet charter operator I'm trying to find every fucking possible way to get back to Dubai.
Well, there goes monetization. Thank you for that, Andrew Tate. What is wrong with him? Like, did he get, like, dropped on his head when he was a baby or something? I don't understand. When I listen to him, I think he has to be trolling. This cannot be real. People this fucking stupid cannot possibly really exist on this planet. Yeah, he was thrown as a baby. I don't understand, dude.
Kill me if you fucking can.
Okay. Every time I watch something from Andrew Tate, it always reminds me of the very first video I ever saw from this douchebag. And it's like, I swear to God, I thought it was a parody of a Republican. I thought that this was him making fun of how fucking stupid these people are.
If you ever see a man who's talking about food, oh, I had this amazing steak at this one restaurant. This steak is so amazing. He's broke. He's a brokey. Because if the steak was so amazing, he'd eat every day. And he'd eat every day to the point where he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. But he doesn't do that because he can't afford it.
It's so stupid, dude. I can't. It's like, there are these things called crock bites. They're just like old crock cheese, and they're just these little things, right? And they're like $5 a bag or something. I have enough money in my bank account that I could literally buy 50 bags of crock bites if I wanted. But I don't. You know why? Because they would wear out. I would not be interested in them anymore. It's called moderation. I enjoy things in moderation so that I don't burn out on this thing. He just does it. It's like he's taking the whole block of cheese and cramming it in his mouth all at once. It's so stupid.
You understand? So whenever you see anyone talking about bragging about the meal they cooked or this ingredient they got or that steak they had, just do, because people do that to me all the time. And I'm just sitting there going, you're poor. Interesting. Oh, you're broke. Yes, okay. Oh, you went on your birthday and had that steak. Oh, wow. Once a year. Broke talk. Brokies. Real G's. Every day. Minor. Ain't a thing.
It is so incredibly stupid. I don't, like, how does he exist as a real human being? I don't understand. My God. Anyway, you know, I'm going to encourage him. Yes, Andrew Tate, please go back to Dubai. And you know what? Stand on the tallest building. Stand on the epicenter of their financial district. Please go do it. I'm begging you. Go stand there for me. Only top G's stand on financial buildings during a war. Tell me what you think in the comments. It's so fucking stupid. There are a bunch of videos like that I really wanted to cover, but I haven't had an opportunity. Oh, you know what? Let me tack this on to the end. Or actually, let's play this video just for editing purposes. Let's insert this into the video about Patriots.win. Put it in the beginning of the video, though. Just an editing reminder. Let's put it at the start, near the beginning, after we've established the subject. If you want to know what war costs, check this video out. The U.S. Navy's cost to fire different weapons. He literally, an MK50 cal, just burned through $75 in 4 seconds. Each shot costs $1,500 for this one. A 5-inch caliber Mark 45. This is an MK38 25mm machine gun. Hold on, sorry. What are we looking at? That one was probably, I mean, just in those few shots, it was $625. I'm not sure which one this one is. This is a CIWS 20mm. That was $6,700. 75 rounds a second. Now we're up to $13,500. Jesus Christ. RIM 116 surface to air missile, $900,000. This is an SM-3 anti-ballistic missile. $12 million for that one. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. War is so insanely expensive and pointless. I don't understand why. All right, we'll move that whole thing into the Iran thing. Should be inserted into the Iran video. And that was at 150. No, that was at 156. 156. Awesome. All right. 158. Let's see. Do I want to cover something else? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. Is there other stuff that I want to cover? You know what? Let's watch this. Let's just watch for a couple of minutes. Okay, I found this episode of Parker Get a Job. I don't know if you've heard of him. He debates people. I found this episode of him talking to a QAnoner, a full-blown QAnoner. It was kind of interesting. I just want to listen to it.
Why do you support Donald Trump?
Because I knew he was going to change the world.
So this episode is from January 7th, before the Iran war.
Okay. In what way did he change the world that you think is beneficial?
Well, I mean, the war on trafficking that we're currently under, I think he's making, crazy strides with that, finding 130,000 missing trafficked children.
Hold on one second, just letting you know. You can't say any DRUG names just in specific. It's TikTok TOS. It will make me have to go into the next person, just letting you know. But keep going.
Found 130,000 children. That's a lie. Is that what he said? 130,000? I think so. There's this absurd claim from QAnon that there were 300,000 missing children. That's not true. It was completely made up. I think it was the total number of missing persons reports in the United States for some period of time, but upon investigating, it turns out that number, it turns out that the vast majority of those kids were actually found immediately. The mom is at Claire's picking out earrings, and little Johnny sees a Baskin Robbins across the way, walks over, climbs in the ice cream tub, and starts eating away. She calls the cops because she wasn't paying attention to her kid. The cops show up. They find him eating ice cream in the thing, and they say, oh, there he is. Now let's all go home. They write a report, and that counts toward one of the missing children that QAnon claims is missing when they're not. I think 80% of the children who were missing, quote unquote, were teen runaways who were found but didn't want to go back and were just left alone. Donald Trump's White House claims to have found 130 to 145,000. I mean, it was just absurd nonsense. It's all lies, but let's keep listening here. Sent you a song. Hope you enjoy. Okay, I'll appreciate that. I'll take a look at it. Parker is awesome. Yeah, I like Parker pretty well. 1 second here. Sorry. This is long form, so we're going to hang out and listen to this for a minute.
Oh, yeah. He's lowered the schmurder rate 20% since last year.
Schmurder. No, he hasn't.
Oh, yeah. How do I say it? D-rug overdoses are down exponentially.
I don't think you can say overdose either, but okay. No, none of this is true.
Yeah, I mean, he's just doing great things.
Okay.
I mean, you think so, right?
You
Those
said
are good things, right? I mean,
you said he lowered the murder rate. What did he do to lower the murder rate by 20%?
probably some. Well, I mean, with all of the how do I say it? Trafficking busts that have been happening, a lot of criminals have been taking it off the streets. You know, you can.
As if, like, Biden wasn't trying to get drugs off the street or whatever. Please.
Go to Google News and just type in.
You know that was happening
busts.
under the Biden-Harris administration, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, I don't see the Biden administration as a legitimate administration, honestly.
Why not?
Because I don't believe he was ever truly the president of the United States. I believe he was president of the corporation, but I don't believe he was president of the United States.
Oh shit, the corporation. I saw this forever ago, but I don't remember much about it. So the conspiracy theory is that after the Civil War, when the country joined back together, it didn't rejoin into the United States government. It rejoined into the corporation of the United States. And we haven't had a real U.S. president for the U.S. government since before the Civil War. Lincoln was the last one elected, and then Ulysses S. Grant was the last actual president. It's all nonsense. It's all fabricated garbage. So he sounds like a sovereign citizen, QAnon or nutcase. It's a very popular conspiracy theory in QAnon. And Donald Trump was secretly inaugurated on March 5th of 2021 because Inauguration Day was changed in the Constitution after the Civil War. And all constitutional changes are null and void since, that was fake or whatever, since since the corporation of the United States is the one that made them. It's all complete trash. But okay, let's keep going.
President of the corporation. What do you mean by that?
Well, by the Organic Act of 1878 shows us that we went back under the British Crown and became basically a corporation run by them. And Donald Trump, I believe, is getting us out of that agreement. Well, I know he's getting us out of that agreement, but.
Wow, the confidence of these fucking nutcases, dude.
Really? So is he currently the controlling factor in our system right now? You said he's getting us out of some sort of system. Like,
Well, it's really
when
a
did the
military
system begin,
operation.
and when did it? And you're saying it's about to end soon. Why hasn't it already ended soon?
Well, it probably has, but I mean, we have to give. This
Probably
has to
has?
be incrementally. Well, I
How do
mean,
you know?
as far as it gets to the public, it has to be incremental. You know, they have to give this.
So on paper, officially, Trump was inaugurated on March 4th secretly, but not to the public. He has to come out to the public. I mean, March 4th, 2021. Hang on. Let me find something. This is a prophecy from QAnon Trump supporters. March 4th, 2021, they claimed that Biden was not really the president and that Trump was being inaugurated secretly in a bunker by the military. This is Kat Kerr, a QAnon prophet or whatever.
Right now, I declare and I call forth our president to take his rightful place, Trump, to come forth right now, step into your destiny that God gave you, called you, appointed you, and anointed you for this time to declare over America, to help America. This is his choice, and we call you forth right now in the name of Jesus Christ, who is with you, who will always be with you. The people are with you. The prophets of God are with you. The military is with you. So come forth, step into your destiny now,
Saith the Lord. Anyway, this was a really, really popular quote-unquote prophecy from a while back from Robin Bullock and a bunch of other nutcases like this. Anyway, let's keep listening.
To us so we can digest it, you know what I mean?
So was Trump the president of the corporation, according to their beliefs? Yes. I believe he was president of the corporation temporarily until he can correct it and dissolve the corporation and become official president of the official U.S. Yeah.
That's why we're learning all these good things under Donald Trump's presidency, such as, you know, the reconstitution of Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3 of the Constitution. We're kind of being taught this lesson. Well, right now, I mean, before a lot of people, it kind of went over their heads, but now we're seeing it with Article 3, with all the fighting within the court systems and everything. This is all for a reason. It's to teach us how this country really works.
It's all for a reason. You see, all of this fighting in the courts is teaching people. This is fucking insane. These people need help. No joke.
Okay. All right. So I'm guessing you believe that there are all these like powers that are like essentially manufacturing this to happen.
I believe it's the military, yeah, and
the military is manufacturing this to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to understand where I'm coming from. I believe that Donald Trump was chosen for this. I don't believe he just decided by the United States military.
By the United States military.
That's what I believe. Yes.
Okay. How do you know that?
Well, I mean,
they're the only organization that would have the power to do such a thing. There's no way it could work through any other mechanism.
It's just kind of funny. I mean, I'd have to go into some really crazy details.
Please, detail.
You know, to kind of
go ahead.
You know, show, but where do I start?
Dude, he pulled out his book. He's got his little book. It says "Trust Me, Bro" on it.
Man, Donald Trump, I believe, was I mean, in actual proof, you got to have to read between the lines on that situation. You know what I mean? But yeah, I believe that Donald Trump at some time was approached because they knew that he could probably win an election fairly because he was already a popular person, had a great following, and well, I can say this. I can tell you this. We know that in 2017, the military was probably going to run a coup against Barack Obama, but they decided not. I mean, I'm sorry, 2012, they were going to run a coup against Barack Obama.
This is absolutely fucking psychotic. This is unglued from reality, seriously. To think that the military was planning on running a coup against Obama with absolutely no basis in fact, no reason to believe this whatsoever. What an absolutely wild thing to say.
But they decided not to. They went to plan B because they didn't want it to seem like a racist thing going after a black guy because everybody believed.
They're literally going to coup the U.S. government and change the foundation of the, like, completely erase parts of the Constitution by force. And you think that they chose not to because they're worried about looking like they're racist? That is fucking wild.
that Obama was
Where
black,
did you hear
so
this
they
story?
didn't want that.
Did you hear this story on like 4chan somewhere, and then like now you believe it?
No.
Where
It
did
was
you
from
get this
Dr.
information?
It was from Dr. Jerome Corsi, a person that I listened to years ago. It was in 2017 that he made the statement. It's actually on my TikTok. I just found it recently.
Wait, what was it again? One more time?
It was from Dr. Jerome Corsi, a person that I listened to years ago. It was in 2017 that he made the statement. It's actually on my TikTok. I just found it recently, and it's, if anybody wants to look at it, you can find it on my TikTok. But and he actually had a place in.
Is the source just like a claim?
Well, I mean, I doubt that you're ever going to truly find
that's not
that on
evidence.
paper,
The
at least
claim.
at this point.
Someone just claimed something and that's it.
Well, it was a pretty prominent person saying this at this time. This was 2017, by the way.
Okay, yeah, this is a well-known sovereign citizen / QAnon crossover conspiracy theory. This theory holds the U.S. is secretly a corporation. Specifically, the Act of 1871 turned the U.S. into a corporation registered in Washington, D.C., meaning the real constitutional republic was secretly replaced. Therefore, every president since then has just been a CEO of a corporation, not a real head of state. The courts are admiralty courts. Your legal name in all caps on documents means you're a corporate entity, etc. Jerome Corsi's role. Corsi is a longtime right-wing grifter. He pushed the Obama birther conspiracy, wrote Unfit for Command against John Kerry's war record, and was a prominent early QAnon promoter and decoder. He's essentially a professional conspiracy launderer who gives fringe theories a veneer of researched credibility by writing books about them. He's been plugged into the corporation / Act of 1871 angle for years. Here's the QAnon twist. In the QAnon version, Trump is supposedly secretly restoring the original republic, the constitutional government, by dismantling the corporate fiction. Some variants claim Trump's 2020 loss was actually fine because Biden is just president of the fake corporation while Trump remains the real president of the restored republic. It's a conspiracy theory that conveniently explains away Trump's failure or loss. That is very fascinating. Corsi is essentially a bridge figure who made this stuff palatable to mainstream MAGA in 2017. Wow. Never heard of him before. I'll have to look him up. All right.
You got to understand, this was a
Do you
very
think
long
most
time
prominent people would agree with that?
At this point in time, I would think that if they wanted people to take them seriously, they would.
If you want to be taken seriously, you have to believe Trump is the president of the real U.S. and not the corporation. What?
Wait, so then that's not an answer to the question. Would you like to directly answer the question?
Does everybody think it's pure coincidence that Donald Trump left and then came back from basically like oblivion? Right?
Pure coincidence. He came back from oblivion?
Right? Donald Trump was gone, but now he's back.
And no, he wasn't gone as in like fucking dead. What are you talking about? He lost an election, stayed involved in politics the whole time, and then won an election again. What? Yeah, he was in a pocket dimension for a while. Stuck in neutral, says. That makes complete sense.
Saying, I mean, I understand.
What is that? Do you think that Trump died?
No, definitely not. He would just, that's the thing. I mean, I believe it was in somewhere in 2015 that the roles were separated between president and vice president. I'm sorry, commander in chief and the president. I believe it was done under with Obama, something that with the, oh man.
I have a question. Do you think that Biden has been executed?
Chief, something.
I have a question. Do you think that Joe Biden has been executed?
What Trump said.
Trump said Biden has been executed? I'm sorry. Did he say Biden? Yeah. I'm just trying to find some info here. The theory goes roughly like this. Biden and various other deep state figures, Hillary, Obama, etc., were secretly tried by military tribunal at Guantanamo, found guilty of treason/crimes against children, executed and replaced by body doubles, clones, or CGI. The Biden people saw for 4 years was supposedly an actor in a mask or a digital composite. Wow. Okay, then.
You believe he has? You believe Joe Biden has been executed?
Yeah, I don't believe he was ever president.
Jesus Christ, dude. It is not often you find somebody this far gone.
You think he was executed in 2017?
No, no, before then. It was, no.
Before then. Biden's been executed since 2017, earlier than 2017?
I personally believe a lot of these people have already been going. There's a lot of anomalies within. I mean, Biden never looked the same twice. You know what I mean?
He didn't?
I mean, and Kamala Harris, her neck had a very weird thing going on with her.
So you think that
her neck had a very weird thing going on? What?
Kamala Harris is fake and she died already. Same thing with Joe Biden. They're all fake.
No, I haven't heard anybody else being executed except for Joe Biden because our president told us so. But I mean,
dude, you're literally just believing in conspiracy bull. I'm serious. Like genuinely,
I think that's
like
crazy to call
listen.
the president a conspiracy theory.
To call the president a conspiracy theory? Brother, no one is saying the president is a conspiracy theory. You literally think that Biden was executed before 2017. What the fuck is wrong with you?
No, yeah, the president is a conspiracy theorist. Our president denies basic science. He thinks that he's smarter than the 99% of climate scientists that indicate that climate change is real. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the Earth is flat as well?
Yeah.
Oh, please tell me the Earth is flat.
Do you think the Earth is flat?
No, I don't.
Okay, why not? Because you believe in science?
No, I actually believe that the Earth is round like we've been taught, but I believe it's hollow. I believe in that whole situation. But
oh boy,
that's a whole nother story.
I believe that's a David Icke claim. He's also a very, very famous conspiracy theorist. I don't think he came up with the lizard people conspiracy, but he certainly popularized it. Claimed that lizard people are running the government and that they're secretly Jews and blah, 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 blah. You know, all that shit. That was David Icke.
I mean, it's not like you crack it and like an egg hollow. It's not that type of hollow that I believe.
Then what kind of hollow?
That there are things underneath our Earth that they. I honestly believe flat Earth is to cover up the whole hollow Earth thing, but whatever. That's just me.
A conspiracy to hide the real conspiracy. I love everything about it.
God damn it, dude.
I know, bro. This is
God
crazy.
damn it, man.
I mean,
it's just like you just decide to believe in every conspiracy, bro. Hey, dude, it's like you know, you're like, what theory would be the least likely to explain this? And you're like, let me pick that one. You know, your method of determination of what's true in terms of the world around you is what is the least likely thing that could possibly explain what just happened.
Listen,
you think the moon landing is fake too?
People in 2021, when I was telling people in 2021 that don't worry, Trump's coming back, everybody thought I was crazy then too. Trust me, bro.
Of course. Now, can I ask you a question? Do you think the moon landing was fake?
What we saw on television, I do, but I don't believe.
Oh my God, dude! Please.
That we didn't land on the moon.
Do you think during that year we did?
Possibly, or before. Whatever they showed us was.
Or
just,
before.
You know,
What?
Yeah, they didn't want anybody to be able to you know, what's the term when you backwards reverse what is it? You know it. Reverse design. They didn't want anybody to get whatever tech we had. That's why they didn't show us the real thing. I mean, it's very easy. But I don't believe we didn't go there.
Okay, so they didn't want to show the technology, and that's why you.
Is he talking about? I assume he's talking about reverse engineering. He didn't want anyone, or I'm sorry, we as Americans didn't want anyone to reverse engineer our technology. So we went to the moon long before we actually showed it and then we staged going to the moon or something? Oh my God, dude. You got to lay off whatever it is you're smoking and then give me some.
You think that they created it in a movie theater?
Exactly.
They created the moon landing in a movie theater. Great.
I mean, one, there's no evidence of that, and we left stuff on the moon that you can test today. Like we left like.
We know that Joe Biden was never in the White House. We know that.
We do? Yeah, Parker was talking about little mirrors that we put up there because the Soviets were, in the space race with us, and we wanted to be able to prove unequivocally and beyond question that we did, in fact, go to the moon. So we put mirrors on the moon, strong or large enough that we could shine a very powerful laser at them and get a reading back. And we did. You can do that today. Like, there are stations in the United States you can go to and shine the laser and look at the readings.
We know this. So they even admitted to us that they had him on a sound
Joe Biden's
station.
not currently in the White House because of the fact that he's not president, okay? Joe
No, I
Biden
mean,
was
his
in the
whole
White House.
administration.
Dude, you think
No,
Joe
no,
Biden's been
there's
dead since
many-
earlier than
go back and read
2017, so what are you talking about? You don't even
I'm
think
talking
Joe
about
Biden
from
ran for
2020 to
president.
2024. I believe he was installed. We've done this in World War II. This is a World War II thing. It was the, oh man, what was that? Taiwan?
He was installed. You mean by the voter base because he won the election?
No, we put a president in exile, and then but he had full control of his military still. This is a World War II tactic. It's just
you think Donald Trump was in
redesign.
exile and had full control of the
Yes.
military?
Yes,
You think he was actually
exactly.
president during the Biden administration?
I believe he was the commander in chief, not the.
Okay, so Trump was the commander in chief, and he kept the border open.
Okay, this is another garbled pseudo-historical claim. He says we put a president in exile, a World War II practice. The real historical practice. During World War II, several legitimate governments whose countries had been conquered by Nazi Germany set up governments in exile, usually in London. These included Poland, France, de Gaulle's Free France, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, Czechoslovakia, etc. These were recognized by Allied powers as the legitimate governments of occupied nations, maintained diplomatic status, and in some cases commanded real military forces. What they're doing with it, they're borrowing that framework to legitimize the claim that Trump is the real president, operating in exile while a foreign illegitimate power, the deep state, the corporation, Biden Democrats, occupies the country. It reframes the 2020 election loss not as a democratic outcome, but as foreign occupation, which conveniently makes Trump's refusal to accept the results not a coup attempt, but an act of resistance. Here's why it's historically illiterate. The World War II government in exile thing were real governments displaced by literal military conquest and foreign occupation. They had international recognition, legal continuity, and actual armies. Trump lost an election, left the White House, and went to Mar-a-Lago. There's no equivalence here.
Well, if you believe that.
Sorry, one more time.
Kept the border open.
Wait.
Chief, not the.
Okay, so Trump was the commander in chief, and he kept the border open.
Well, if you believe that.
What?
Yeah, the border was open, bro. He kept the border open. He kept the border open, and he was the commander in chief, and he didn't prevent that from happening. What?
This is what they show us on television doesn't mean. I mean, we're under.
Wait, so the border was closed from 2021 to 2025, is what you're saying? Then? The point here is that the guy was unhappy with what happened in 2021 to 2025, right? Obviously, he was not happy with it because Donald Trump was not openly the president. The things that Biden publicly did, the people that he publicly pardoned, and the laws that he publicly signed, this guy did not like them, obviously. He's a Trump supporter. So what was happening? How can he say that Trump was in control when Biden was publicly doing things as president that had real world effects.
From military occupation. So if you understand that, you can understand that the military has full control of all media. All media.
So all media. So do they control me? Because I'm media as well.
No, you're not. Are you a media? I mean, do you have a media corporation? Are you associated with a media corporation?
I mean, it's a company. Yes, everybody that makes money in the United States over $600 a year has to be a registered company.
This is media. Is this not social media? Isn't media?
No, it's social media. It doesn't count. Anybody can just go on.
It just doesn't count. Okay.
Yeah, you're not part of a conglomerate that can be controlled and can be told what to do.
Okay, so then why did they let that exist?
Individual citizen.
You said they controlled all media, so now they don't control all media. Interesting.
No, I believe they control all media that is considered media. Social media is not considered media.
It's not?
Not to the legacy
social
media.
It's literally in the fucking name.
Media is not considered
I'm
media.
talking about people that actually make money on this.
What?
In a sense where they get a paycheck and they
I get a paycheck from this.
It's not the same thing, bro.
Okay. God. He's acting like Parker's the idiot here.
I understand that you're going to run with that, but it's not. You know it's not.
It's just I control the business. I do have a company. Yes.
What is your LLC?
I'm not going to tell you my name of my company, but I do have a company. That's for tax purposes. That's how it's set up.
Okay.
And of course, being a QAnon sovereign citizen type of person, he doesn't believe that taxes are real either, right? Ken Tovind is the same way, believe it or not. He didn't pay taxes for 30 years because he believed that your name, if it's written in all caps on a document, is representing you as the corporation, not you as the individual, and all this other shit, and you're not obligated to pay taxes or some shit.
This is a business, essentially.
That's fine. Well, I mean, I'm not convinced that you guys aren't given talking points and being put on TikTok, you know.
Oh my God.
I'm being given talking points. So what talking? Who's giving me my talking points?
Most of you big guys on. Yeah, I believe most people that are big on social media that run with this Democrat narrative or this liberal narrative are
the
definitely
liberal narrative. They definitely must be bought. Who's giving me my talking points?
I'm just saying.
No,
I'm just saying what? Who's giving the talking points?
Asking who's giving me my talking points.
If that was true, then yes, you would be controlled because you are being given talking points.
Okay, so then who's giving me my talking points?
So maybe you don't know that you're controlled if you are really under a conglomerate or some type of media company.
So can you tell me who? Answer the question. By the way, I have full control over my business. It's my business. So I don't know what under company you're saying I'd be getting the talking points. You mean from myself? I'm getting talking points from myself? I'm the only owner of my business.
We're not getting anywhere with this, bro. You're not CNN. You're not Fox News. You're not MSNBC.
So he thinks they're not real. Or, I'm sorry. So he thinks he's not connected to media again, I guess. Okay, got it.
NBC.
Of course.
CNBC. You're not anything. So that's what we're specifically.
But you said all media was controlled. Social media is media, especially large
media. Yeah.
So do you think that Dean is controlled? You think Dean is controlled because he has so many viewers?
For media, then you are. Listen, this is all on documented. The military has full ability to do this under a military occupation.
This is documented?
I believe it's the. Oh man, I have to look it up exactly what the term. It's either the law of war manual or the. I got a lot of information in my head, bro. It's hard to remember every little detail, but yeah. I mean, we're watching this happen. We've seen the military. We've seen the National Guard. We're seeing local police.
He mentioned the Law of War Manual. It's a 1,200-page legal reference published by the Department of Defense, and that's real. That outlines how U.S. military forces are expected to conduct themselves under international laws of armed conflict. It covers things like treatment of prisoners, rules of engagement, occupied territories, war crimes, etc. It's basically the military's legal compliance handbook for armed conflict. Genuinely boring bureaucratic stuff, apparently. Here's what QAnon did with it, though. Around 2020 to 2021, people in the QAnon sovereign citizen space started circulating readings of the manual, claiming it contained secret provisions that explained how Trump would retake power. The specific claims included the U.S. was secretly under belligerent occupation provisions, meaning military law superseded civilian government, that certain sections about occupied territories applied to the U.S. itself, that Trump, as commander-in-chief, had secretly invoked wartime powers that would allow military tribunals to try and execute civilian politicians, and that the manual justified a military coup to restore the legitimate government. The QAnon pipeline, it got heavily promoted by figures like Corsi, who he mentioned earlier, Juan O'Savin, a mysterious QAnon figure, and various Telegram channels as the legal framework underpinning the whole military is in control, Biden is a puppet thing. Here's why it's nonsense. The manual explicitly applies to foreign armed conflicts. None of its occupied territory provisions have any mechanism or precedent for application to domestic U.S. politics. The people promoting these readings were either deliberately misreading it or had genuinely no legal literacy whatsoever, taking real legal language out of context and retrofitting it onto their pre-existing conclusions. So it was just all nonsense all the way down.
All working in conjunction, where this is a military occupation that we're under. That was an optic. That was the visual, for the most part. And a lot of this whole Venezuelan thing is crazy too, because this is a part of Donald Trump's first administration policy on how to deal with Venezuela. This guy had 6 years. And then you have to ask, why didn't Joe Biden stop it? He could have stopped what Donald Trump put in place for Venezuela. He could have stopped everything.
What the fuck is he talking about? He could have stopped what?
Why did Bro, I could keep going, bro.
Please keep going.
Listen, Joe Biden is
I don't know how Joe Biden would have stopped that right now. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Dude, Joe Biden okay, let me read this to you.
Like, that literally makes no sense. Joe Biden could have stopped what happened in 2026? Really, dude? Wow,
in
dude.
26. No, listen, in Southcom Enhanced Counter Narcotics Operations on April 1st, 2020. That's what Donald Trump put in place. That is what he is acting on. Okay, that's what.
That doesn't mean that Biden kept that in place. He could just be reenacting
He
it.
did. Then why didn't he stop it somehow? Why did?
And also, by the way, that doesn't refer to all of the conditions that Trump is engaged in terms of Venezuela. And also
the Southcom thing he just mentioned, I just Googled that. Southcom, Southcom. April 1st, 2020, Trump announced enhanced counter-narcotics efforts in the Southcom area of responsibility, coming days after AG Bill Barr announced unsealed charges of narco-terrorism and drug trafficking in Venezuela. I'm sorry. Siri, turn on living room. And drug trafficking against the Maduro regime in Venezuela. It was described as one of the largest U.S. military operations in the region since 1989 Panama invasion, with a 65% increase in ships and 75% increase in surveillance aircraft. It was a real operation, not secret, not coded, a publicly announced counter-terrorism operation. And here's how QAnon spun it. The conspiracy ecosystem took this real operation and reframed it as Trump secretly using military assets not to fight drug cartels, but to arrest and execute the deep state, that the narcotics operation was cover for military tribunals, mass arrests of Democrats, the whole Q thing. The Law of War Manual ties in here, too, apparently. They claim the Southcom deployment activated special wartime legal authorities that justified trying civilians before military courts. Okay?
In terms of...
Apparently, Hegseth, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, reportedly ordered operators to kill everybody aboard an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean in late 2025, with reports that an initial strike left 2 survivors and a follow-up strike was ordered to comply with Hegseth's order to leave no survivors. The Trump administration has killed at least 80 alleged drug traffickers, this is from The Hill, by the way, in recent months, and claims the U.S. is in an armed conflict with drug cartels without publicly providing evidence of an imminent threat to Americans. So there you go.
In terms of responding to those types of substances, right, Joe Biden, of course, did do that and did have an intention to address it, right?
Okay,
I'm
so either
confused.
it's one of two things. He was helping Donald Trump out, or he planned
It doesn't.
on
Wait,
allowing
listen. That doesn't
invasion of
necessarily
some
mean
sort
that the
for
policy
Venezuela?
was through that, but it being through that could have been like one of the things that's true. I'm not even
Why didn't
familiar
he
with
stop
what you're
Executive Order
particularly referencing.
13818? That
Which
it's
one?
in there too. Executive Order 13818. He could have stopped that. He extended it for Trump. He
3818.
extended Executive Order 13848, Executive Order 13912, Executive Order 13919. All these things Donald Trump is using right now.
Okay, this is signed Executive Order 13818, signed December 20th, 2017, blocks the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Trump declared a national emergency with respect to human rights abuse and corruption having their source outside the U.S. It's essentially an expanded sanctions tool. And here's what QAnon did with it. This executive order became one of the most heavily mythologized documents in the entire Q universe. The National Emergency Declaration was actually Trump secretly activating wartime powers to arrest the deep state. The property seizure language meant Trump had already secretly seized the assets of Hillary Clinton, Obama, George Soros, and others. The annex listing foreign human rights abusers was supposedly just the public-facing cover. The real sealed annex contained thousands of American politicians and celebrities. It was used to justify the sealed indictments mythology. At one point, QAnon promoters claimed there were over 150,000 sealed federal indictments waiting to be unsealed as part of the mass arrest event. Okay? And here's the tell as it describes it, the American Presidency Project. Section 13 of the actual order explicitly states it is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the U.S. The order itself contains language directly contradicting the idea that it creates any special enforcement mechanism, but that detail never made it into the QAnon readings of it. Surprised? Delight loves movies. Hello. Just looking through the chat there. Okay. Hang on. 237. Second here. Yeah, we're running up against time, but let's listen just a little bit more.
Now. Right now. All these powers
Yeah,
have already been
I
put
understand,
into
but that
place in
doesn't mean.
Trump's
Wait,
first
hold up.
administration.
Hold up, listen. You overwrite other executive orders with new executive orders, so Trump is just trying to bring in a new executive order and utilize that again, right? Whereas other presidents
No,
didn't
it's the
utilize
same
it.
one. It's
I
the
understand.
same ones.
I
They've been
understand.
extended. They're still active.
Yeah, I don't
Joe
think that's.
Biden did
Wait,
that.
can you show me where Biden did that?
Well, I mean, you can look through the literature and see. Executive orders only last a couple years. And then they
No. Executive orders are basically just instructions for how the executive branch is supposed to operate. Like, if he writes an executive order about how we prosecute, drug traffickers or like human traffickers or whatever, the Department of Justice is responsible for carrying out the president's wishes. They're not laws by any stretch of the imagination. Executive orders are just direction for executive branch agencies. They don't disappear or go out of use or whatever the fuck he's talking about. It's just completely fabricated garbage.
they fizzle out on their own, or unless somebody extends it, or if they just stop it.
So give me a source that indicates that he did.
I gave you the executive orders. If you understand that most of these things are still active, then how could they not have been?
Okay, you're just not answering the question.
We have executive orders from the 1960s still about how you can't discriminate against people, for example.
Would you like to provide a source, or is that impossible for you?
If you go to the Federal Register, you can see the executive orders themselves, and you can see the national emergencies that are tied to them. Executive Order 13818 has war and national defense tied to it. That was in 2017, still active.
Dude, this is reaching deep in the QAnon mythology.
I see here in 2024, there's something saying that they continued specifically the 13818, right? I see that point.
That's the one I read a minute ago.
Yeah.
Now this is specifically.
It had to be extended after Biden because they only last 2 years.
Listen. They said that the prevalence of the severity of human rights abuse and corruption that have their source in whole or in substantial in part outside of the United States continue to pose an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States. So it's just claiming in a national emergency. This isn't necessarily saying that they're going to go into Venezuela, by the way. It's not even the claim.
It's the beginning of it. If you look at that, what I just sent you, the article, it's a .mil article, straight from military.
Don't even just tell me the title, and I can look it up. I don't know where you sent me that.
Jesus Christ, dude, this is insane. These people are fucking lost. Like, their brains are just shut to shit. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. I am so entertained by it, though. I mean, it's sad, but I love understanding what is going through their head and how they got to where they are. Yeah, tell me your thoughts. All right, I'm getting out of here. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's been fun. I will see you guys on the flippity flip, which is to say Wednesday. All right? All right, later, everybody. Have a